You guys, today's video, I have in my possession a complete boxed 64DD development kit. And today we're gonna check it out, we're gonna unbox it, and then I'm gonna demo it for you guys using my partner N64 development cartridge. You guys seen one of these things up and running? It's freaking awesome.
The Nintendo 64 Disk Drive Programmer's Guide. '64DD Development Blue Discs. The DCC adapter board. This device allows two separate N64 cartridges to access the PI bus simultaneously. DCC joint board. The IPL ROM Pak is a special cartridge that stores fonts and wave data information for the 64DD development drives. It is accessed at a unique address to avoid data read-write conflicts on the PI bus. The Nintendo 64 DD Development Disk Drive. Expansion Pak Removal Tool, NUS-012. 64DD Development Kit issue. The Nintendo 64 Memory Expansion Pak.
Okay, everybody, so everything's going here, everything's working. So today we're going to be looking at a few different demos, one for the N64, and then we'll look at a couple for the 64DD development drive. By going through that, we're going to be able to look at some of the hardware that we use with the 64DD. For one, we're going to be looking at the Partner N64 Development Cartridge, so we're going to be loading a demo with that. But we're also going to be using an N64 Development Flash cartridge along with an IPL Disk Cartridge. That's a special bootloader cartridge that also contains fonts and wave data information for the 64DD development drive specifically. As well, on top of that, there's a special adapter for the 64DD development drive called the DCC adapter board. And that's a little adapter that's used when you're testing a game that's under development or a demo, and you want to make sure that it works with an N64 development flash cartridge and not necessarily the partner debugging cartridge. So it's just an additional way that developers are able to test when a game was set up to boot with a development cartridge as well, and then accessing data from the development disk. So we're going to go over to my Windows 98 PC where I've got the partner debugger software set up, and we're going to boot up that software, and then we're going to compile one of the demos, and then we're going to upload that and check it out on the Partner N64 cartridge. So I was getting everything set up here and was looking for a tabletop to use to set the N64 and 64DD on. And I thought, what could be more fitting? None other than the SGI Onyx supercomputer from 1993. This was a $250,000 supercomputer that Nintendo issued to some of its developers to develop games on and perform graphics processing. Companies like Rare Limited used SGI supercomputers to do graphics processing, and for the Nintendo 64, it was used to essentially run an OpenGL-based emulation of sorts software package, and it used the Reality Engine 2 hardware to perform all of that graphics processing. And developers were able to test their games under development prior to the N64 console hardware being available to them to actually test. And so this was their workaround to being able to continue with game development before the hardware was even available to them. So pretty cool. This was a supercomputer unit that I obtained not too long ago, and eventually one of these days I'll demo this here on my channel. Regardless, I just thought it would be a cool unit to feature in the video today. So pretty awesome. So my Windows 98 machine is over here, as you can see, and this is a Dell GX1, so super old school. And I've got an official copy of Windows 98 set up on that. And the reason we're using this today is because it supports ISA cards, which is the interface card that's used with the Partner N64 PC development kit. So I've got one of those cards installed here, as you can see, and I've got the special ribbon cable that goes through from the back and then inserts and connects to the back of the partner N64 cartridge. So that's all ready to go. So what we're going to do now is we'll turn on the N64. So now that's ready to go. And now we'll jump over to the software side here, and we're going to go and boot up the partner debugger. And there you go. As you can see, we've got that up and running. So now with the N64 console turned on, we're going to go and we're going to look at one of the N64 SDK demos, and we're going to run through a quick compile sequence. So we'll just take a look here. So I've got this simple demo, and we've got the source files here. And what we're going to do is run through a make sequence. So I've got that set up here on my special keypad over here. This is a programmable keypad that I have set up specifically for the partner N64 debugger software. So it's really amazing to have, and it has all of the special menu hotkeys essentially programmed and allowing for quick access. So really, really handy. So we'll run through the compile sequence now. So I'm going to activate that. So there we go, and it's running through the compile sequence for this simple demo. And there we go. So we can go ahead and close this. And as you can see, we have a simple N64 ROM that's been compiled for this demo. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to load it up in the partner software. And this is the debugger software. So it's actually looking for a debug output file, which is this file right here, simple.out. And so when we go up to the software here and load, and we select our simple out file for that, we're in that folder for that demo. And we select OK. And there we go. We have our source file here. This is audio.c, one of the source code files. I'm going to activate the run command here now. And we should see it come up here on the display monitor here now that it's actually running. And there we go. So we have the simple demo. Now this is just running on the N64, but you can see how it works with the partner debugger cartridge, and with the joystick that we have hooked up here to the N64 console, we can control the speed of rotation for this SGI Silicon Graphics logo, which is the designer of the original hardware within the N64 console. And you can see there, and then we have control over the size here, the scale. So pretty straightforward, pretty basic. And it's just for demonstrating a functional demo here. So then if we hit escape, that freezes the demo, and then it pauses here and it shows the breakpoint, or essentially the line of execution within our code that the game is halted at. So now before we jump into the 64DD demo, just to give you a little explanation of the sample that we're going to be looking at. Now, over the years, I've been constantly, going online and, researching and, looking for different assets and, different sample code that I can read up on and learn from, in terms of the N64 and 64DD consoles. And about probably 5 years ago now, maybe 6, I came across a really old archive that had, some old N64 samples. And what's really interesting is that one of the samples that was within this archive was a slightly modified version of this sample demo that I was just showing you guys. And what's really cool is that it was modified specifically for the 64DD development drives. And so there's, special functions within that will access the fonts and wave data information through using the special IPL cartridges. That's part of the development kit for the 64DD is the special IPL cartridge. And this demo that I found was using that and was accessing fonts from that cartridge. Really, really cool. And now just recently, what's even more cool and awesome about it was that I discovered that the author of this demo, this modified demo, was Mark DeLoura. And so now if that name rings a bell to some of you that are watching this, chances are you've watched the video that was released by Metal Jesus Rocks, probably almost 10 years ago now, where he had discovered the USA prototype 64DD retail system. And that was the system that was used by Mark DeLoura, who was the lead engineer for Nintendo of America back when the 64DD was in development, and the whole potential process of the 64DD coming to the North American market. Mark DeLoura was in charge of all that and overseeing everything. He wrote code for it, and that is what I've come across here today in this archive. I'm going to be showing you guys some of this code. Really, really cool. And we're going to be loading it up. We're going to boot it up on my partner N64 debugger cartridge, and we're going to load it up onto one of my blank blue discs. And then we're going to test it, make sure it works with the drive. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to load a bootloader into an N64 Development Flash cartridge. And we're going to be able to test this demo running with an N64 Development Flash cartridge and the blue disc with the partner N64 debugger cartridge removed from the system. So it'll be sort of like a little standalone setup and making sure that the demo works on its own with just like a standard cartridge essentially. Now, for those of you that are interested in all the different pieces of hardware that we're using here today, and I'm going to be showing you, as an example, the partner N64 debugger kits, I've covered and done deep dives on two different systems, the partner N64 PC as well as the partner N64 network, which is the debugger system that's used with the SGI workstations. I've done deep dive video demos on both of those systems. And as well, I've covered the NU64 Flash Gang Writer, which is the programming system that was used by developers to program N64 Development Flash cartridges. So there's a lot of different pieces of gear that we're using here, but wait till the end because I'll be talking about those a little bit more near the tail end of the video. All right, so we're going to load up the 64DD demo here, the simple DD demo. It was by Mark DeLoura. We're going to load that up now. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the N64. So we boot that up, and we're going to load up the partner debugger software. So as you can see here, we're going to activate that again. And that boots up. Okay. So now we're going to go to the simple DD folder. So this is the source folder here, and here's all the files. Now, if we go down here, there's a little README file, and this was what I looked at. And we're going to just use Notepad here to take a peek at it. Okay, now check this out. So here we go, 1997, Mark DeLoura. Product Support Group, Nintendo of America, Inc. Portable programming for N64 cartridge and disk drive, example program. Super cool, right? So this directory contains a modified version of the simple demo, which uses more N64 features than the standard version. It is designed to go along with the Nintendo 64 portable programming document to illustrate how a program can be designed to operate in both cartridge and disk formats. Really, really cool. And so of course it goes on, there's other, specifics regarding the demo, but we won't go into that, but just so awesome that it came across that. So I thought that was really, really cool. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and compile this. So I've got a hotkey here set up to do the compile. And so first I'll navigate to our simple DD. This is going to be the output folder for our N64 ROM. And so we'll go ahead and activate the compile process here. And there we go. It's running through the compilation. I'm going to compile, link, and create our N64 ROM file that's going to be used essentially in a special demo that's specific for the 64DD. So I'll talk about that a little bit more in a sec once it finishes compiling. Okay, here we go. So we can close this window. Okay, so now one of the interesting things about this within our simple DD folder here, you'll notice there's a file down here called gwrite. And now if we open this, again with Notepad, just to take a look, you're going to see that we have a whole series of different Leo write commands. So now with the 64DD development drive, that's the command that's used when you want to actually write information from a ROM file onto a development blue disk. So that's the main command, and there's some other parameters in there like address, offsets, and then the name of the ROM file that you're using. And so you'll notice there's a whole sequence of these Leo write commands. And the reason for that is when the 64DD development drive is writing information, it's doing that in LBA, logical block addresses on the disk. So there's different, essentially rings on the disk that it has to program information onto that and write information. And so that's what the multiple write commands are being used for, is to essentially assign information and write information to different LBA addresses on the blue disk. So that's the purpose behind it. There's a lot more involved in there with those parameters, but that's just to give you a general idea of what it's doing. And so part of the compilation process is to create that gwrite file, and it does that all automatically for you. So we'll go in here to load, and we'll navigate to our simple DD folder. So we're under demos here, and we'll navigate down to simple DD. There it is there. And then we've implemented the DD version of the file. So we go in here in this subfolder and then select the simple out debug file. We go okay, and now it's going to load that up. Now it's prompting us to insert the N64 DD disk that we're going to use essentially because we're going to have to write that information onto a blank blue disk. So now I've got one here that we're going to use, and this is one of the disks that came with the development kit, and it is blank. All the disks that were in this were dumped, and I sent them all the dump images over to LuigiBlood, who is, he's a real guru in this area of the 64DD system, and he confirmed and validated that these were all blank. So rest assured, there's no information being erased or lost here. So now we're going to use this disk, and we're going to insert it into the development drive, and then we're going to run through the process of programming and writing this sample demo onto the blue disk. So we're going to do that now. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this disk. And I'll actually going to put a custom label on this just so that we don't get it mixed up with any others. So I'm going to label this as SGI 3D logo demo. I've got a little decal here that we'll use. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so we'll insert the disk. There it is there, and it's going to read that, double check it, make sure that it's inserted properly. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and hit OK, and then it will move through to load this project. And there we go. So now we're ready to go. Okay. So now if we hit this GW icon here at the top, that's going to activate the write sequence. And so that gwrite file that was generated as part of the compilation process, that's essentially the script file with all those Leo write commands. And so this icon up here is a hotkey that's going to activate that script and then proceed to run through all of those Leo write commands and essentially programming the information from the ROM file that's needed onto the blue disk. So we're going to go ahead and hit the GW button here. And there, as you can see on screen, it's running through sequentially all those commands, and it's also writing the information to the disk, as you can see there. Okay, so now that write process is complete and the blue disk has been written, all of the information that it needs is on the disk now. Run ROM. It's reading the data, and there we go. Check it out. We have the simple demo that's being run off the blue disk. The bootloader has been uploaded to the partner N64, which then booted up the 64DD, but the game data has been read off of the blue disk, which is what we had gone through that gwrite process. So really cool. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape here because we have that trumpet N64 soundtrack running in the background there. So I'll hit escape. Now, one thing that I want you guys to take a look at is you'll notice here on the screen here, this is part of the modified data that Mark DeLoura had performed. And so what you'll notice here that at the top, there's a whole bunch of kind of jarbled information there. And what that is there's some font information that Mark had implemented and added into this demo. But because we're using the 64DD development drive, fonts and wave data information are accessed from the special IPL Disk Cartridge. And that's this cartridge here that you guys can see. And it contains the special IPL chip that is used by both the 64DD retail system as well as the development console. Now on the retail systems, this chip that's inside this cartridge here, the IPL chip, that on the retail systems, it's actually populated on the retail board directly. And that way it can access the fonts and wave data information as well as the bootloader whenever need be. So now the way that the development drives were designed, the IPL chip, which has the font and wave data information, was removed from the development drive and inserted into this IPL disk cartridge. And the reason for that was so that the debugger cartridges could have full control over the parallel interface bus. And then whenever need be, based on the software and all the debugging processes that were happening, if they needed access to the fonts and wave data, they could do that by having a special bus dedicated for this cartridge. And again, that way the debugger cartridge would have full control over where information was stored and when it could access it. So that's the whole reason that they did that. It was primarily just to allow the partner debugger cartridge to sort of act like a middleman and just have full control over everything. So with that said, we're going to take this IPL disk cartridge, and this contains the fonts that this demo is requiring. So as you can see here, this is some of the text information that is all corrupted and missing. So what we'll do is we'll shut this down, and then we're going to turn off the N64, and now we're going to attach this to the top slot here on the partner N64. Okay, so now technically the fonts should then be accessible by the system. So now we'll boot it back up. So we'll turn on the N64 and we'll reload our demo again. And if everything goes to plan, the fonts should then be displayed properly. Okay, and it loaded that. So now we will, and there's the bootloader. Okay, there we go. And so it should be ready to go. And now if I hit run ROM, it's going to load that demo again. accessing the disk, and there we have it. So as you can see, welcome to the simple demo. We have EEPROM, DD, and the fonts are then displayed properly. And that's again because we now have the IPL Disk Cartridge connected to the system. So pretty cool, right? Now we're going to repeat this process. However, this time we're going to use the DCC adapter board. And so that's this board here that you guys saw there initially in the beginning. So this is a situation where we're going to use an N64 Development Flash cartridge, and we're going to program a bootloader onto this. And then we're going to use this DCC adapter board, which is then essentially going to allow us to insert the N64 Flash cartridge as well as the IPL Disk Cartridge in parallel, and the N64 N64DD PI bus is going to have access to that simultaneously, and I'll have access to both of those cartridges at the same time. So that's it's a pretty cool little thing. So before we do that, we're going to shut down and we're going to program the IPL bootloader program onto this. And to do that, we're going to use my NU64 Flash gang writer. So let's bring that up here, and we're going to run through a quick sequence of programming the IPL image onto this development Flash cartridge. All right, so here it is. Voila. This is the NU64 Flash gang writer. And this is the piece of equipment. It's a programming system that was used by developers to program ROMs onto these N64 Development Flash cartridges. So it's a very specialized system, uses a SCSI interface, and it hooks up to a SCSI card in a Windows 98 PC. And there's some proprietary software that it uses, and then we're able to program different ROMs under test onto these Flash cartridges. So today what we're going to program is the IPL 4 ROM bootloader image, and that's the program that's programmed normally into the partner N64 and allows the 64DD development drives to boot. And so now, because we're going to be testing this using the DCC adapter board and we're not going to be using the partner N64, we then need to program the bootloader onto a Flash cartridge, and then we're going to insert it here on one of these slots. And then the second slot here on this DCC adapter is going to be used for the IPL Disk Cartridge. And then that will essentially will have a completely, standalone setup where we have a bootloader, and as well the 64DD will have access to the fonts through that IPL image. And the reason that we need to do that is because the 64DD development drives do not have the IPL chip inside. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to program the IPL 4 ROM bootloader onto this. And I've got it labeled there already, nicely ready to go. So what we do is we just insert that in here. And I'm just going to run through this very, very quickly because, again, I have already done a deep dive on this programming unit, and I'm going to have links for you at the end of the video. And there we go. We have the write sequence has now begun. It's finished. All right. All right. So the next step, we're going to remove the partner N64. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to insert the DCC adapter board. That's it right there. So we'll go ahead and insert it into the back slot here. And so now what we'll do is we'll insert the IPL bootloader cartridge into the back slot. There we go. And then we have our IPL Disk Cartridge. There we go. Okay, so now first I'll eject the disk. And now if we run this, we'll boot it up. It should run the demo as it did before with the fonts in place. Go ahead and load that. And there we go. We have the 64DD Japanese bootloader. And that's it there. And so now we're going to insert the 64DD blue disk, and that will boot up our demo. And there it is. As you can see, fonts in place. And that again is because we have the IPL Disk Cartridge hooked up to the DCC adapter. Pretty cool. So just taking a second here to highlight all of the different pieces of development gear that you've seen in this video today. The partner N64 development kits, as well as the NU64 Flash Gang Writer. For those of you that are interested in checking out some of the content that I've done in the past and the functional demos that I've done on this hardware, the links are in the description. But there's a link above to get you started, and that's for the partner N64 network. A very, very cool piece of development kit. All right, so that's a wrap, everybody. That's today's video. Wow, so awesome, so epic. I was just so pumped that that this happened and that this materialized and came together. And I was able to demo a complete boxed 64DD development kit for you guys here on my channel. So awesome, and I'm just so happy that I was able to do that for you guys. So that's today's video, everybody. Please hit the like and subscribe if you can. It's always appreciated. And we will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy, and bye for now. Ciao.